Welcome to Traveler's Tales. I am your host, Greg Alonzo. Today I will be your guide through history as we take a look at your questions and comments from Tartessos, Myth or Reality. Before we begin, just a quick reminder that we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. Moving right along. Mythology tells us one thing, while archaeology tells us another. Our first question is from Drew. He asks whether the Tartessians were a warrior people. Drew, good question. We do know that the Tartessians were ruled by a central monarchy. To maintain control, the king would have needed some type of military force. Since the kingdom was incredibly wealthy, maintaining a standing army or hiring mercenaries would have been no problem. Our next question is from Shlomo. He asks, were the Tartessians ever defeated in war? Shlomo, one prevalent thought is that the Carthaginians eventually took control of Tartessos after they defeated them in a war. This defeat of the Tartessians took place around 500 before the Common Era. At this time, the city of Mainake, today's Malaga, also fell to the Carthaginians. Many other cities who were under the protection of Tartessos were now under Carthaginian subjugation. Next we have a question from Enya. She asks, were the Tartessians related to the Celts? Enya, most likely not. It is generally believed that the Tartessians were from an Iberian tribe known as the Torduli. This was a group that was much different from the other Iberian tribes who dominated the peninsula. Our next question is from Paolo. Paolo asks, did the Tartessians have a great mercantile navy? Paolo, from what limited info we have gathered, they did not. It appears that they were quite content to let the Phoenicians and the Greeks act as their intermediaries. Let's press on. Our next question is from Fiona. She asks, what do we know about the role of women in the Tartessian culture? Fiona, unfortunately not much. However, do keep in mind that the goddess Astarte was the primary deity worshipped by the Tartessians. That being said, we can assume that the women of the time perhaps had more of an active role in society. Our next question is from Pedro. He asks, what types of mines could be found in the lands under the rule of Tartessos? Pedro, good question. The pyrite belt controlled by Tartessos carried copper, tin, and lead in huge quantities. There was also an abundance of silver and gold. Lastly, though in lesser amounts, iron was mined. Our next question is from Eric. He asks if the Tartessians were farmers. Yes, Eric, you are quite correct. The fertile lands supported the growing of crops. The Tartessians were also fond of raising cattle as well as fishing. The coastal waters were abundant in seafood. Moving right along, our next question is from Jake. He goes on to say that he recalls Tartessos was prominent in the sale of wood. Jake, you are absolutely correct. The area surrounding Mainake was bountiful in wood as thick as forests strewn across the land. This claim is also supported by the historian Diodorus. He cites Tartessos as a primary source of wood for Phoenician shipbuilders. We have time for a couple more questions. This one is from Dennis. He asks, is Tartessos the ancient city of Tarshish? Dennis, interesting question. Some modern scholars identify Tarshish with Tartessos. This is because classical authors describe this port in southern Spain as the source for metals for the Phoenicians. However, keep in mind that Josephus's claim that Tarshish was the Cilician city of Tarsus is even more widely accepted. Our last question is from Roselia. She wants to know, what was Spain called in Bible times? Roselia, excellent question. While there was no biblical name for Spain, the people of the New Testament in the latter Roman period would have probably been familiar with the terms Iberia and Hispania, being part of the empire themselves. This brings us to the end of part 2 of Tartessos, Myth or Reality. Thank you for once again joining us for this edition of Traveler's Tales. Just a reminder that we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. For your convenience, we have also posted our email address and Instagram information. We love hearing from our subscribers. Please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions or comments you may have. If you haven't subscribed to Traveler's Tales, please do. This really is the best way to help our channel grow. Traveler's Tales will return with The Lost Cities of Antiquity. Until we meet again at the crossroads of folklore and history, Tartessos.